All right, I was trying to do something clever. It didn't work out. So the last video I'm going to record today, Montana, Wyoming, the Dakotas, Nebraska, kind of the Midwest. Is that going to be the new redoubt of, and the new area of white flight? I've kind of had a string running through these videos, which comes up to this one, which is talking about the climate crisis, which I admit will happen. The climate will get worse, and islands will be flooded. Millions of people will die, and there will be millions more that will flee to the U.S. And this is going to cause cities to burst into flames. This will cause states to go bankrupt. It will not be pretty, and there will be a huge amount of chaos that will occur at the federal level, and they will not be able to stop it. And I think that you're going to have white flight again. You're going to have white flight again. The rich honkies that have the money are going to be going to Montana, Wyoming, the Dakotas, Nebraska, all these sorts of places that don't have, a whole lot of folks already. They're going to be moving there. Okay. A lot of the rich boomers have already moved out there, especially to Montana, so they can go fly fishing and stuff like that. The thing is that a lot of celebrities own land out in Montana already. So it's going to be that much more difficult. They'll probably be, the rich folks will probably, start renting out territory or whatever and, owning these properties and whatnot and making them, robber barons. But I digress. The thing is that this is going to be considered kind of like the last redoubt, where it's like a lot of, the Whig, of course, Wignats. I was going to say the real Nazis wanted the Obersalzburg to be the last redoubt of Hitler, right? To go in the eagle's nest, to go there and fight until the end, right? This is what the, SS did and all that. But basically, they just didn't have the cojones anymore, and they're like, well, fuck that. Oh, fuck that bullshit. Okay, And, then, of course, the 101st Airborne went up there, and, they're just like, yeah, cool. And most everything was blown up after the war. And, of course, there was a lot of stuff hidden and everything else. But, the thing is that I think this is what a lot of the MAGAPEDs, or what's left of them, and the American nationalists and Wignats have already kind of signaled. There was a Wignat back in like 2015 who was busted for trying to start an all-white city. And they're like, no, we're not going to have that. I think it was either there or Wyoming. I'm not sure. But it's like, this is something that Wignats have talked about, where it's like, we're going to flee into the hinterland. We're going to flee into these unpopulated areas, and we're going to, create a new ethno-state there. That's their idea of the ethno-state, though, is, places like Montana, Wyoming, the Dakotas, all these areas that are, fairly uninhabited. Apart from like bigger cities, like maybe like Whitefish, of course, that's where Richard Spencer is, the Whitefish in Montana. At least that's where his mom was, where they were harassing her. I don't give a shit. Who cares? But I do think that it's going to be seen as a redoubt, where that's where a lot of these white folks are going to flee to. They're going to flee in there, and they're going to create, this is where they're going to build the wall, and they're going to keep everybody else out. Basically, they're going to, this is where people are going to set up their 3D printed food places, and they're going to have their, these large buildings where they could grow their own vegetables in controlled environments. They're not going to grow them outside. The future is like, UV, kind of like hydroponic and hydroponic, but there's also aquaponic, where they have, fish floating in there and, where they can poop basically and helps the plants to grow. So hydroponic and aquaponic food production, or at least, vegetable production, 3D printed synthetic meats, I believe. This is where a lot of that stuff is going to go, in my opinion. Now, this is going into like conspiracy theory stuff, but I do think that that's what's going to happen. California, no. You can go ahead and say California is a strong economy, this and that, but guess what? California will bust into fires. You can go ahead and go up north and hide, in in the redwood forest and all that, okay, you can go ahead and do that. But for the most part, people are not going to waste their time with that. The cities are going to be looted. You're going to have warlordism. It's just going to be a catastrophe. And this is another aspect. Like I said, I don't have one unifying theory of like balkanization. I just generally think the U.S. will break apart. I do not think some fascist government is going to take over everything. No. But I do think a general move towards balkanization and making deals with other countries separate from the U.S. is going to happen. And this is a potential string towards where, these folks where honkies are going to go, where the crackers go. Could I be wrong? Absolutely, I could be wrong. 100,000,000,000% I could be wrong. Absolutely. But I do think that it's going to get bad. And I think a lot of people are going to find they're going to be looking for these locations where they can try to build, something else, or try to rebuild and try to make their perfect little worlds, Anyway, it's just me spitballing, but I think that's what could occur. I think that's all I really have to say about that. I do think that, I think that even people like V-Man, Vosh, have to admit that they know that, the left is not going to be able to reverse or even shunt climate change. It's going to occur. It's going to occur, and nobody completely knows what's going to happen, but it's not going to be pretty. So, yeah, I would just say get ready. Get your vest. I would say get vests, get helmets, and get protection far more than buying a gun. There are going to be plenty of goobers out here with guns already. I would suggest to you get protection first. That way you can be protected. And maybe when one of these dipshits does get killed, you can just grab their gun. It's that fucking simple. Anyway, enough of the Fed posting. I think I've said my piece on all these videos. Woo! That's the last one I'm going to record for today. I'm going to hopefully try to make this somewhat coherent, but y'all know that I'm crazy as fuck. So anyway, hopefully y'all enjoy that. See you later, and a good bye.